But okay. So we're holding over here by the Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, and let's see where let's go over a little of what we did yesterday. So we mentioned yesterday that if a person answers Yeshmei Rabbah in a dream, he's guaranteed to be a Ben Olam Haba. And if he says Shema in a dream, he's fitting that the Shechina should rest on him. But the reason he doesn't have the Shechina is because the generation is not fit, doesn't merit that he should be able to have the Shechina resting on him. Now, if a person puts tefillin on in a dream, he should expect greatness, as it says that the nations of the world will be afraid of him. Nations of the world will see that Hashem's name is upon him, and they'll be afraid of him. And the Gemara says that Rabbi Eliezer says that's tefillin sheberoish, that refers specifically to the tefillin, the head tefillin. And there's a famous story about the Vilna Goyim that he somehow there was some danger, and they saw his tefillin and they ran away. In other words, they were going to bother the community, and when the Vilna Goyim when they saw the Vilna Goyim with his tefillin on, they all ran away. So they asked the Vilna Goyim, what happened? He says, "What do you mean? I had tefillin on." So it says a pasuk, the Gemara here, it says that v'yaru mimeka, that the tefillin caused the nations of the world to be afraid. I mean, it's really a pasuk, but the Gemara says that v'ra'u shem, they see the name of Hashem refers to the tefillin. So the Gemara explains that pasuk to mean it refers to tefillin. So you see, the tefillin causes people to causes enemies to run away. They can become afraid. So they asked the Vilna Goyim, they said, "But we were also wearing tefillin, and they didn't run away from us." So he said, "Because you didn't read the Gemara properly." He says it's Elu tefillin sheberov, the tefillin in the head. It's not about the tefillin on the head. It's about the tefillin in the head. That means you have to be concentrating on the tefillin in the head. Tefillin sheberov, in the head. That means that you have to be concentrating on the tefillin to be able for them to have the effect. Just having tefillin on doesn't necessarily do it fully. It has to also be in your mind.
In Israel now, they say that tefillin works so well in the Gaza wars and in Lebanon that they try to insist that the soldiers put on tefillin before they go into battle.
Wow. Okay, that's nice. So the Gemara continues, says the person who davens in his dream, so it says it's a siman yafa, it's a good sign, as long as he didn't finish his davening, he's still in the middle of davening when he wakes up, that means that he's close to Hashem. But then the Gemara says this very surprising Gemara about a person has relations with his mother, with a young girl that's engaged, and has relations with his sister, has relations with the Ishas Ish, all of these things, they're like the very good signs. And the Gemara qualifies it, that it only applies if he didn't know her and he did not think about her in the night. So this is basically proves that it must be some, just simply for the purpose of giving him this message that he's having this dream, and it's not because of something sinful that he had in his mind or sinful thoughts and so on. And then the Gemara mentions a person sees chitim, wheat, he's going to see peace, sees barley, means his sins will go away. Reb Zera said that he did not leave Bavel to go to Eretz Yisrael until he saw this the barley in his dream. So we were talking yesterday about leaving Bavel to go to Eretz Yisrael, that you would think it's a mitzvah and so on. He didn't do it because he didn't see that his sins were forgiven. So there is an explanation here that Reb Zera's Rebbe was Reb Yehuda. who held that you're not allowed to go from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, that once the Yidden were taken into Golus, into Bavel, so there was a pasuk that says Bavela Yuvo, that is meant to be in Golus, in Bavel, in Babylon, and therefore, because of that, you're not supposed to go to Eretz Yisrael. We learned this. It's a surprising opinion. So Reb Zera, who argued on his Rebbe, held that you can go to Eretz Yisrael. You can go to Israel, even though there is a pasuk. He learned that it applied to the vessels, the kalim of the Beis Hamikdash. You can't return, but you are allowed to return. So Reb Zera argued on his Rebbe, but he felt wrong going against his Rebbe and going to Eretz Yisrael until he had this dream. So that's why he waited, because his Rebbe really held that you're not allowed to go to Eretz Yisrael. We had it earlier. It was in the sixth or seventh parak about Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. A very surprising view that that you can't go to Eretz Yisrael. In any event, the Gemara continues over here. It mentions if a person sees a vine with grapes, filled with grapes, so means his wife will not have any miscarriages. And if he sees a branch of a vine, he should expect Mashiach, because the pasuk refers to Mashiach, when it talks about the branch of the vine. Person sees a fig in the dream, it means that the Torah is going to be protected, because the pasuk about figs talks about being a fig tree being protected. And a person who sees the pomegranate in his dream, if it's small, it means that his business will become fruitful like a pomegranate. If it's a big pomegranate, it means that in his dream, it means that his business will increase and flourish and thrive and expand. And if he sees only a piece of a pomegranate, then it means if he's a Talmud Chacham, he should expect Torah. And if he's an Am Haaretz, so the Gemara is saying how could he expect to attain Torah if he doesn't have any knowledge? So it must refer to mitzvahs. He should expect that he's going to merit a lot of mitzvahs. And why? Because it's mentions about that every yid is like a section of a pomegranate, or pelach harimon. Rakosech is your temples, but it refers to the empty ones. There's a way of translating Rakosech it means the empty one. Even people who are empty amongst you, they're filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate. We've seen that Gemara before. The next Gemara mentions, if you see an olive in a dream, if it's small, your business will be expand and be fruitful and so on. And that applies if you see the olive itself. But if you see the olive tree, it means you're going to have a lot of children, because there's a pasuk, "Banecha kirsile hazeisim," the children will be like olive shoots. So then the Gemara says, some say if a person sees an olive in his dream, he's going to have a good reputation, good name. And it brings a pasuk as well for that. And then the Gemara mentions that if a person sees olive oil, you should expect the Ma'ar Torah, the light of Torah, as it says, Shemen Zay Zach, for the menorah, for the candelabra in the temple, the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan. So it says that it symbolizes Torah. So when it talks about, so therefore, that when you see olive oil in a dream, that would mean that you could expect to have Torah.
Rabbi,
is a source of the olive oil was the light, the light that there was one of the candles in the menorah. It burned constantly, and it would seem that the concept is that if you have Torah, it means you're constantly connected. But in general, the menorah is symbolic. It's connected to the Torah. We compare the Torah. Torah are right. Torah is light. So it would make sense if you see olive oil, which was that was the main source of light, that you should expect Torah. Yes, David.
Yeah, back to the Gemara where it says all animals are good in a dream except an elephant and a monkey. So it talks about the elephant saddled or not saddled, but it doesn't say why, and it doesn't mention the monkey at all as to why. Do we have any idea why that is?
Well, I mean, the concept of a saddle is that animals that are saddled are more domesticated. And it's like unbridled is without a saddle has that element of like wildness to it. So the Gemara says that if the elephant is saddled, then it was 1 second. Yafel achaloim. It's that what the Brisa said. Well, it was a contradiction. There was two statements really. One statement said if a person sees an elephant in a dream, he's going to have wonders. And if he sees many elephants, he'll have many wonders. And then the Gemara says that all animals are a good sign in a dream, except an elephant or a monkey. So the Gemara only was dealing with elephant because that's what the contradiction was, right? It only brought it in for the elephant part. So the Gemara answers that it's not a contradiction. And it said that depends if the animal is saddled or if it's not saddled. So if it's saddled, so Rashi says if it has a saddle, it's yafa, it's a good sign. And seeming the logic would be because it's like domesticated to some extent, you know.
Right. I remember you saying that. What about the monkey?
So the monkey, we're not really talking about the monkey here. Oh. In other words, the reason why the Gemara brought that whole thing is only to emphasize the previous Gemara, which it mentioned the elephant. The monkey was part of a brisa that it had to say it because it says it in the brisa, but it's not trying to explain it.
So Rashi doesn't say anything about a monkey or what's the
this is not now the Gemara does mention later about this brisa. We'll soon see it. So you'll see another, you know, and it mentions a third animal as well. So maybe we'll see it a little later, and maybe we'll talk about it more. But in that you have to understand that the reason a monkey was mentioned there was just on the side. It wasn't really discussing the monkey. Okay, so the next Gemara mentioned the person sees dates in his dream. I think that's where we are up to. So we are about halfway down the page, 57a, and let's see, it must be about 25, 30 lines. Let's see. I would say about 35 lines from the top. And
Rabbi, I think you started with Yehesh Me Rabba Mevorach, the shiur.
That's yesterday.
No, today.
Today we went over it. But now we went over yesterday's Gemara. But now I want to start with the new Gemara. And I believe we're up to Tamarim, about dates. Person sees dates.
To me, I have where we're talking about laying tefillin.
So because you missed yesterday.
That's right. I was away for a day. I forget. Excuse me, everybody. All right, I'll catch up.
So yeah, it should be. I mean, we just caught you up outside, so you really got everything.
Sorry for my.
We caught you up.
Right now. I got it. I see where we are.
Okay, so we're gonna start over here. Harayat Marim Bachaloim. A person sees dates in a dream, so it's a sign that Tamu Avonoisav, that his sins are over. They're ended. There's Shanem, as it says, Tam Avonech Bas Tzion, your sin is ended, the daughter of Zion. Jewish people are called the daughter of Zion. Now, Tam and Tamar somehow are similar. So if you see a date, sounds like a good sign. The person sees a goat in a dream, the year will be blessed for him. Izim, if he sees plural goats, then shanim misparchas, he's going to have many years blessed for him. Shenemar, as it says, v'dei chalev izim lelachmecha, and there'll be enough milk of the goats for your lechem, for your bread, which means, I guess, they drank milk. They drank milk with their food, and it'll be enough milk of the goats for your. So it uses the plural, the goats, and it talks about having enough. So it means you'll be blessed for years. Haroya hadas b'chalon. The person sees a myrtle branch in a dream. Nechasav matzlichem loy. His business will be successful for him. Literally, it means his possessions will be successful for him, and it seems to be connected to the idea. Well, Rashi over here says, that his business will be matzliach, or his possessions will be successful, like this myrtle, that the leaves are 3 on 3 and looks like it's braided. So somehow that's, I guess, like the beauty of it is a sign that his business will be beautiful. It'll be working well. People who are very neat, they use this as a sign that it means if you want your business to be successful, you have to, everything should be neat and organized. Nechasav from the hadas, similar to the hadas, it's 3 on top of 3. But I think it means more braided, like the beauty of it, probably. Okay, the Gemara continues and says that what happens if a person doesn't have possessions, assets, property? So what does it mean that that things will be successful for him? It means Yerusha Naifelis Lai Mimakamacher. It means that he'll get an inheritance from somewhere else. In other words, good things are in wait. He's waiting for him. Which might mean something to do with the fact that the leaves are above the previous leaves. Everything is exactly on top and organized. That means that his sustenance is sort of like organized, I guess. So doesn't have a business. He'll get an inheritance. But the bottom line is it's a good sign. The hadas. Amar Ula Barmila Masnisa Tana. Ula said, and let me mute everyone here. Ula said, and some say it was learned in a brisa. You have to see the myrtle on its source, on its base, like from the ground, that it's growing from the ground, not just a myrtle, branch itself, but it should be attached to the ground. The Gemara continues and says, Haraya esreg b'chaloim, if a person sees a esreg in the dream. So hadar hu lefnei koinai, that means that he is beautiful in the eyes of his maker. Shenemar, as it says, creates hadar, kapos tamarim. You should take for yourself, l'kachtem, lachem, creates hadar, right? You should take for yourself a fruit of a tree. Hadar, which the Gemara has many meanings what this hadar is, but one of them is beautiful. So either the fruit is beautiful, the tree is beautiful, eitz hadar, or beautiful tree or beautiful fruit, and then it mentions the kapos tamarim, the date palms. So the point is that if you see an esrog, it means that you are beautiful in the eyes of Hashem.
So Kono is Hashem, not the person that bought the esrog.
Hadur. What are you saying?
Hadur hu lifnei kono.
Kono is
Kono is
Hashem.
not the man that bought it. Kono
No,
is
no, no.
Hashem.
Yeah.
Because it could mean both ways.
Okay. Koneh, from the word koneh, right.
It's talking aroe etrog, kono.
Right. Depends how much you paid. If you paid a lot, then you're hadur before you're kono. The seller is quite happy. But
Rabbi,
yeah,
it's interesting that we're not allowed to go to fortune tellers and people that predict the future. It's a very, very strong forbidden thing. But the flip side is this is the opposite. Dreams seem to be not only allowed, but holy in a certain way, where Hashem is revealing the dreams in order to help a person see the future. And that's like the flip side of what's forbidden, that this is not only allowed, but it's almost encouraged.
it is very interesting. And we'll think about going to a Rebbe, you know?
I don't think it's the flip side, because you are the one that's seeing the dream. Do not depend on somebody telling you what they see in your coffee.
But the idea that you have like a prophet, you know, telling people what's going to happen, all these ideas are, in other words, it's really
That's
Hashem telling
else.
you that it's all coming from holiness. That from holiness you can take you could take, this is like a partial prophecy, you know. And if it's coming from the side of holiness, it's coming from Hashem. But if it's coming from the side of impurity, that's the idol worship. That's a problem. But Hashem is directing information to you. There's all the secrets are in the Torah. Hashem did that to us. In other words, the deeper you learn, the deeper you understand things. You know, so that's seemingly the idea. But it is interesting how Hashem created so many things that, you know, it's almost like there's a thin line, you know, this is prohibited, but that's permissible and a mitzvah, and it's, you know, it's a holy thing, but it's like a thin line in between sometimes, certain times. I mean, this is obvious, that's idol worship and this isn't, but it's, but if you go deeper in, if you dig deeper into it, it does seem a little, there is like a similarity there where you're getting information and maybe it doesn't fit with the pasuk of Tamim Tihiyah Hashem Elokecha. You know, you're supposed to be more simple with Hashem and not expect to figure out the future. And so how does that work with, you know, like you have to figure out how that pasuk fits with the other, you know, with this idea of going to a prophet, Shmuel Haroya, Shmuel Hanavi, right? When they went to Shmuel to find the, you know, when Shaul's father sent him there, you know, sent him to find his lost animals, and you know, like this idea, it is, you know, it does seem surprising, right? It seems like it seems like it's against the pasuk of Tamim Ti Hashem Elokecha, but the thing is that Hashem gave us prophets for a reason. Hashem gave us prophets so that we could give us inspiration and give us information that we need to get to show that it all comes from Hashem.
Shmuel is not the best example, because later on he really goes to a woman that will tell him.
Shaul,
that's what I'm saying. Shaul is not a good example.
But Shmuel, I see.
Because, you know, he went later again, but to somebody else.
Right. Good point. Avram, did you want to say something? Or yeah, Ezra. Yeah, hi, Ezra.
I think the reason why Shaul ended up having to do what he did was because of the situation that existed, which was there were no Kohanim, so he couldn't go to the Ulim and Tumim to get responses to his questions. And even though he knew it was incorrect to do, he sort of like, he was boxed in. He had no other choice.
He boxed himself in.
Of course he did. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay. And so therefore he had no other choice.
Right.
And so he ended up going to, even though, and she understood that because she knew that he was very much against all these things. And in fact, in her statement, she said, you are coming to me, having known how he has reacted to people that the Torah says we shouldn't go to. And, so he says, basically, I have no other choice. I have to come because I need to find out what's going on.
I didn't blame him. I just said he's not the best example.
Yeah, we understand that.
Well, anyway, well said, both of you. It is surprising, the whole story of Shaul and how that comes about. In addition to the fact that it seems like he might have committed suicide as well, which also is very shocking. And at the same time, he's accepted in the place where Shmuel is in heaven. Like he's able. So the whole story of Shaul does have some very shocking information there to how to somehow understand it. With the the fact that he seemed to be a very a great tzaddik, even in the eyes of David, he was a great tzaddik, and especially from the midrashim where it says imay b'mchitzasoi, that he was accepted in the chamber where Shmuel is having his Gan Eden. Wherever that chamber is, that spiritual chamber where Shmuel's soul is at in heaven, he tells Shaul, "You're going to be with me tomorrow in my chamber." So that's quite a statement, and it must have been a great tzaddik. So it is surprising that he did those two things. But as Ezra explained, that no other choice, or it's hard for us to know the exact on the way of Hashem, but try to figure out what it could be. Okay, so in any event, we have here the Gemara mentions about a myrtle. If a person sees the hadas, and then the Gemara says that if he sees it, it has to be attached to the ground. Then the Gemara mentions that a person sees an esrog, and it shows that he's hadar. He's beautiful in Hashem's eyes, Esrog. And then the Gemara says, Haraya lulav b'chalim, and that's what we're up to. Haraya lulav b'chalim. The person sees a lulav in his dream. Ein loy ela lev echad la'aviv shabashamayim. It means he has only one heart to his father in heaven. And what that means is that he loves Hashem, that his main love his real love is for Hashem, which is very high level. And the concept is that lulav is a tree, the palm tree is a tree that the sap doesn't go through the branches. It just is in the trunk. It means that it's almost like there's only one. It doesn't have other branches. And that's the symbolic of this idea that it only has one heart, one desire, one love. Haroya avos b'chalim. If a person sees an avos, a geese make the most noise when they cry. So a person sees in a dream a goose, yitzap el-chochma, you should expect chochma, because it says shem chochmas b'chutz taroina, that the chochma outside, it screams, it cries. And so therefore it would be symbolized by a goose. If a person has relations with a goose, that symbolizes that he's gonna give like speeches and speak to big crowds, and Yavi Rosh Yeshiva, he'll be a Rosh Yeshiva. So Rashi says Shemachriz u'metzava l'rabim. He screams out and commands to many. Okay, the Gemara then says, Amar Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, Ani re'isiho vasi Allah. I actually had a dream where I saw a goose and had relations with it. Vesalkis Legadula, and I became a Rosh Yeshiva. And Rashi says he became the Rosh Yeshiva of Masa Machasya. So that's Ravashi. Haraya Tarnagol B'Chalem, if a person sees a chicken in a dream, so Yitzchok ben Zohar, a male chicken, Tarnagoil, he should expect a male child. Tarnagoilim, if he sees many chickens, so Yitzchok Levanim Zoharim, he should expect many male children. Tarnagoiles, a female hen, if he sees in a dream, Yitzchok Tarbitza Noa Vegila, he should expect a beautiful and gila is like rejoicing. Tarbitza means a gina. Rashi says he should expect a beautiful garden. Or it might mean, Rashi says the second shot is inami a beis hamedrash. Now, what's the connection? So, Tarbitza Noe Vegila is a Tarnagoil. In other words, if you put those three words together, Tarbitza Noe Gila Tarnagoil. So, in other words, it's a sort of like similar to like an acronym or something, some other way of combining words that are combined together. So, if you saw this Tarnagoil less. It is surprising that the Tarnagoil means male children. The Tarnagoiles is these words. And you would think maybe Tarnagoil also fits with these three words. Why by a Tarnagoil does it mean male children? Why Tarnagoiles? If you see the female, the hen, then you have a garden or a beis medrash, beautiful beis medrash. I can't answer. I don't know why. Maybe does anyone over there have any insight into it? Steinsaltz says anything about this? This is surprising that we're translate. Why don't we say you'll have girls? You see Tarnagoiles, you'll be blessed with girl children. It says it's the this beautiful garden.
I'm not seeing anything in Steinsaltz, but I'm thinking a garden is a woman is like a garden in that she's able to reproduce a whole bunch of children, like a garden gives off a bunch of fruit or a bunch of flowers.
I understand, but it does. Which one is they going to get if they have this dream? They're going to get the garden, or are they going to get a woman that's like a garden? And females that are like a garden. That sounds from the Gemara that you're going to get a garden.
And the reason to rejoice from the garden.
Right. That's what it sounds like. So, it could be in the olden days, people were not excited to have female children. The male children helped them in their business and so on. I don't know. There seems I think could be a Sephardic thing that they tachshitim you get if you have a male child. I don't know exactly, but it could be that the common language, the lingo in those days was more for male children. So the female, the Gemara says you say a bracha shachiyanu when you have a girl. So it should be a time of rejoicing. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound not really a good answer. All right. Anyway, the next Gemara says, Haraya beitzim b'chalem. If a person sees eggs in a dream, teluya bakashasa. See, eggs, the inside is hidden. So because it's hidden, it means like it's your bakasha, your request means it's like still hidden. It's hanging. It's in the air. It's not finalized yet. You see eggs in your dream. Now, nishtabru, if the eggs are broken, in other words, they're cracked. So nas is bakashasa. It means your wish, your bequest has been fulfilled, and so the cracked egg is a sign of blessing. Rashi says niskala ha'oichel, food is revealed, the edible part. The Gemara continues, it says, V'chein goizim, same thing as nuts, v'chein keshuim, same thing is keshuim, which would be cucumbers. And v'chein kol klei zechuches, any type of glassware, v'chein kol ha'nishbarim ka'elu, and all things that break like these would be included in this idea that the idea that if it's not broken, his blessing is being withheld. It's in limbo, and if it's broken, that means his blessing is being fulfilled. And hanichnas lekrach. Then the Gemara says that if a person enters in a dream, he enters a krach, like a walled city. So sometimes it's used to just mean a big city. It could mean either. Sometimes krach is used to mean a wall city or a big city. But if he enters it in a dream, it means nasalei chafatzov, his desire is going to be fulfilled, because it says shenemar vayanchim el machoiz cheftzam, and he led them to the desired place. Now, what does that mean? So the word machoin, machoiz, excuse me, somehow is like somehow is connected to chefetz. So no, the next word is cheftzam. Machoiz cheftzam. So what does it mean? Machoiz maybe could mean a city. I think that's the pshat. Machoiz,
destination.
Machoiz, yeah, Rashi says hainu krach. Machoiz is the krach, and cheftzam is where his desire is. So it means he led them to the desired place. So in other words, if you see the machoiz, you'll get chefetz. That's the point. The pasuk is hinting to you that if you see in a dream machoiz, you see machoiz and chefetz go together. So if you see machoiz, which means a krach, a big city, then you will get what you want. The cheftzam. If a person has a haircut in his dream, so if he gives himself, it seems like he's giving himself megaleach roisha. He gives himself a haircut in a dream. Siman yafalite. It's a good sign for him. And Rashi says siman gedoyla v'teferes hiloi. It's a sign of gedula and teferes. It's a sign of greatness for him. Like because of that pasuk that we had before about Yosef, that he rose to greatness after he had his haircut. If he cuts both his head and his beard, then it's a sign to him and his whole family. This would seem to be a source that maybe there are opinions that feel that shaving is permissible for because there are opinions that hold shaving is not allowed in Torah, but others say that, in other words, the Torah talks about a razor, but the question is it allowed with electric or with scissors or with some type of powder or cream? And so there are opinions both ways. Of course, a lot of people rely on the lenient views. Here, it does seem to follow. It seems to imply that it's a good sign if a person has his head and his beard shaven. You would think that it's it's against the Torah.
But that's only in a dream.
I understand. It's not a proof. It's not a proof, but it does seem like it might be a source that they might use. I don't know. But you're right. It's not a proof. It's not a good proof. It's just a sign of a dream. I mean, we had cases where you had relations. You had relations with in a sinful way, and it's a good sign. So you're right. It's definitely not a proof, but it does seem surprising.
Rabbi.
Yes.
There's another thing back in the Steinsaltz where he's talking about eggs. So he says that one who seeks eggs in a dream, it's a sign that his request is pending. And Steinsaltz says an egg in Aramaic is bea, which is similar to the term for request.
Okay, shkoyach. Shkoyach, very, very nice. Okay, that's a good. Does he have a source for that?
No.
Probably his own.
Yeah. It just says that the eggs in Aramaic is be'ah, which is similar to the term for request.
Yeah. Okay, it's a good shot.
And
Okay.
the eggs are broken. It's the sign that the request has already been granted, because that which was hidden inside the shell is now revealed.
Right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I like that. So the Gemara then continues and says, Hayoshev ba'areva katana. If a person is sitting in a small boat, shem tov yotzilai, a good name will go, like a shem tov, a good reputation will be for him. In other words, he'll have a good reputation. Ba'areva gedola, if he's sitting in a big boat, it means for him and his whole family. That is, if the boat is lifted up, which I guess means it's on it's like the waves are higher and he's able to. The Medali Rashi says that it's going on the height of the sea, which I'm not really sure what that means. I guess it means on a wave. Medali. It's lifted, it goes on the goiva shel yam, on the height of the sea. Probably means a wave, unless someone...
Here in our scroll it says, wait a minute, a riding on the crest of waves.
Waves.
Yeah, on the crest, before they break.
Okay. So then the Gemara says, Hanifne b'chalim, person relieves himself in a dream. Siman Yafalai, it's a good sign. Shneimar says, Mihar Tsoya Lihi Pasach, that it rushed to open. And so this is considered a good sign. Mahani Mili Deloi Kineach, and this applies where he didn't wipe himself, which Rashi says means he didn't get his hands dirty. So as long as it's clean, he's clean. In his dream, his hands are clean. Then it's a good sign. A person goes up to a roof in a dream. Means he's going to become great. If he goes down from a roof, yarad, that means he's yared migdulas. He's going to go down from his greatness. But Abai and Rava argue and say, Kivan Sha'Allah, since he goes up, Allah, he is going up. In other words, even if he goes down from the roof, he's still the dream is still a good dream. Person tears his garments in a dream. Karen like Zardinai, it means his harsh judgment is torn up for him. And then the Gemara says that the next thing is it depends where he lives, where he had the dream. Person who's naked in a dream. So in his dream, he has a dream of himself that he's naked. So standing, he's standing naked in his dream. So the Gemara says it depends where he is. But Bavel in Babylon, so that's a sign that he doesn't have sin. Eretz Yisrael, if he has a dream in Eretz Yisrael that he's standing naked, that means he's arum b'lay mitzvahs. He's naked without any mitzvahs. Why does it make a difference of where he is? Because in Eretz Yisrael, there's so many mitzvahs to fulfill, and therefore, and Rashi over here says in Chutz La'aretz in Bavel, it's Chutz La'aretz ein la zechuyos ela avan yesh b'yeshivasa. There's a sin in dwelling there, and he doesn't have merit. So that means he must be. But if he's naked, that means he's standing without sin. But in Eretz Yisrael, harbe mitzvahs tzluyos ba. There's a lot of mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael. I'm just reading Rashi over here. It's a sign that he's naked from his mitzvahs. So Rashi seems to be saying that that dwelling, there's a sin of dwelling in Chutz La'aretz.
It's opposite to what we learned 2 days ago.
Yeah, it seems like he's following that view of the Ramban that holds that there's like a mitzvah to go to Eretz Yisrael is like a sin, not in dwelling in Chutz La'aretz, which is maybe it's used by the Zionists as a source that why are you people still living in Chutz La'aretz? You should be moving to Eretz Yisrael. And of course, there are such views. So in any event, it does seem that way from Rashi. You could learn the Gemara that doesn't mean to that extent that it's a sin. It means that in Babylon most people sin, and therefore if you're naked in Babylon, it means you're exempt. In other words, the sin is more prevalent in Babel, and in Eretz Yisrael mitzvahs are prevalent. Therefore, if you're naked in Eretz Yisraal,
you're busy with mitzvahs. In Babel, you don't have so many mitzvahs. You have time for other things.
So it comes out that this type of dream depends on where you are. Okay, the next Gemara says, "Hanitfas le'sradiot." If a person is taken by the Roman official, Roman policeman, so shmira nasislo, it means he's going to be there's protection for him. Shmira nasislo. What's the sign? Because this policeman or this guy is who took him. He's making sure he doesn't run away. So what is this? So he sees this in a dream. You see it in a dream. It's a sign that you have someone watching you. So, but the dream we're translating it to mean that it means you're being watched and protected. So it has, in other words, in the dream, it seems like a negative thing. They took the person away. They're watching him that he doesn't run away. But when you interpret it, it means that you're going to be protected. Now, Nasnu B'Koiler, if they put him in chains, which you would think also would be like some major negative thing. No, Hasifu like Shmir al Shmir. It means they are adding protection upon protection. It means even better. Now, Hani Milia, when does this apply? But Koiler, when he's in chains, if it's just rope, then it's not considered such a great. It doesn't have that great of a as we said before, like protection of protection. It doesn't mean as great as that. But if he's in chains with like metal chains, then it's applicable. Okay, hanichnas la'agam b'chalayim. Person enters. He enters a agam. Agam is a marsh. Rashi says agam has kanim gedolim uktanim. It has reeds, big ones, small ones. They're close to each other, and it's a sign of a Rosh Hashiva. We'll soon see, because the big ones and the small ones gather together, and in other words, big people and small people gather together to listen to a drasha from him. So this is so it says a person who let me read inside the Gemara. Hanichnas la'agam b'chalayim. Person enters a marsh in a dream. So Nasa Rosh Hashiva means he's going to become a Rosh Hashiva layar. If he enters a forest, Nasa Rosh B'nei Kala, he'll be the in charge of the Kala. What is the B'nei Kala? B'nei Kala, Rashi says, is they would go over the Gemara and they would do the Chazara, give a shir Chazara from the shir. Let's see Rashi. Rashi says Yar. He sees this forest, Ilanis Gedolos. There's big trees, and they're not next to each other. And this is also a sign of being in charge of students. When it means you'll be the Rosh the B'nei Kala, which means you explain the students their teaching after the Rav leaves, and they go over it. So the students that didn't understand it, he explains it to them. So he's called the Rosh B'nei Kala. So this is if a person sees a yar, a forest, it's not as good as seeing a marsh. If you see a marsh, then it means a Rosh Hashiva. See a B'nei Kala, if you see a yar, a forest, it means you'll be the second level up, second to the best. You're the Rosh to the Chazara. You lead the Chazara, the review class. Rav Papa Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua Chazu Chelma. Rav Papa Rav Huna, the son of Rav Yeshua, saw a dream. Rav Papa Da'ayala Agmar. Rav Papa he went into he entered a marsh. Nasa Rosh Hashiva, he became Rosh Hashiva. Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua, the Ayaliyar, and Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua who entered a forest. Nasa Rosh Bnei Kala. It actually happened. He became he would lead the discussions for the Bnei Kala, the review class. And some say Tarvayu la'agma. Some say that the story is a little different. Some say the story was they both entered a marsh. Rav Papa the Tali Tavla, but Rav Papa, who he in his dream he had something hanging from his neck as a bell. So he became Nasa Rosh Hashiva. He became a Rosh Hashiva. Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua, the Loy Tali Tavla. He didn't hang a bell, so he did not become a Rosh Hashiva. Nasa Rosh Bnei Kala. He became this leader. Gave a class for the review class. So the idea of the bell is, Rashi says, it's mashmiya koil. It's a simon for Rosh Hashiva. It makes noise to everyone, just like a bell. It's a sign of a Rosh Hashiva that gives his class in very loud. Mashmiya koil rabim. I would have thought he has to quiet everyone down, but it doesn't say that. It says he gives I guess they'd have to give a very loud class because there were so many students. Maybe the review, not everyone needed, but the class, I guess it needed to be very loud. So the bell is a sign of a loud sound. Okay, I'm Rav Ashi. Ona Ilas Lagba. Rav Ashi says, I once entered in a dream. I entered a marsh, Utlai Tavla, and I had a bell hanging, and V'navchi b'navuche, and I also rang the bell. And that's his story. So, and we know he became a Rosh Hashiva, Rav Ashi. So I'm not sure if he's saying that if you ring the bell, it means you need to ring the bell also to have that interpretation, or if he just says it happened that I also rang the bell. But it could be that it's worth it. If someone wants to be a Rosh Hashiva, try to have a dream that you're entering a marsh and ringing a bell and having a bell hanging from you and ring it. Now the Gemara continues, says, Tani Tama Kamid Rav Nachman bar Yitzchok. A Tana taught, a teacher of brises, in other words, a person who used to repeat the brises. They would know them by heart. They would repeat them in front of the Talmudic scholars, and the Talmudic scholars would interpret them. So the Tana would taught in front of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchok, Hamakis dam b'chalon, make his dam b'chalon, a person who bloodlets in a dream. Avaynoisav mechulin loy, his sins are forgiven for him because the sins are considered like red, and the fact that the redness is going away, it means that the sins went away from him. So I was having a dream of make his dam, bloodletting. In the olden days, that was a way of healing. Person has such a dream, his sins will be forgiven. But Tanya, what do you mean? It doesn't say his sins are like organized. They're put in, and it sounds like it's getting ready to have a court case against him. That's what it sounds like. Of Sidurin, if you see bloodletting in a dream. The Gemara answers, my Sidurin limachel. They're organized to be forgiven. They are arranged in a way that they're ready to be forgiven. I'm not sure what that means really, but the sins are organized. It means like I guess the lawyers would understand this better. Like if you want to have someone forgiven, you have to know which act how to present it in a way that the judgment doesn't seem to they minimize the serious ones, and the small ones is what they spend time on, and somehow it must like help, like they forget about the big one, the small one, such a big deal, something like that. Sounds like, I don't know, does it sound good, Isaac?
Sounds good to me. And I'm not a yes man. If you say no, I say no too.
Somehow sins that are organized in a way, I don't know, they're going to get healed. It means it's a sign of mechila. I don't know what it means. I'm guessing that's the pshat. Okay. Tani Tamak Amid Rav Sheshis, the teacher, this Brisa speaker, the person who knew all the Brises by heart, he taught in front of Rav Sheshis. The person sees a snake in a dream. His livelihood, his parnasa, his sustenance is organized. He saw a dream. He saw a snake. It means his parnasa. What's the meaning behind that? So the meaning is that the Rashi says that the snake, what does it eat? It eats earth. So it never is missing food. So the same thing as if you see a snake in a dream, it means you're going to always have food. Your livelihood is all set. If the snake bit him, it means he's going to have double livelihood. Hargai, if he kills the snake in the dream, of the parnasasa, it means he now has no more livelihood because he just killed the snake, and the snake is a sign of livelihood. And if you kill the snake in the dream, that means that your livelihood is messed up, is bankrupt. Amar Rav Sheshis argues, he says, what do you mean? If you kill the snake, then for sure your livelihood will be doubled. And Rashi over here says, because you were nisgaber olav, you overcame it. So it's even better. If it bit you, and it means you're going to get double livelihood. If you killed it, you should be even more. But the Gemara says v'loihi, but that's not true. Rav Sheshis u'dechazachivya b'chelmet b'kotlei. Rav Sheshis saw a snake in his dream and he killed it, and he wanted to interpret it in a positive way. So therefore, he said kol shkein shenichpala parnasas. He was trying to do the interpretation, the positive interpretation. But really, in truth, the dream has a certain meaning to it that it's negative. Tani Tamak, well, the truth is, it's let's do one more piece. Tani Tamak Amei, Rav Yochanan, another Tana taught in front of Rabbi Yochanan. Again, the person who knew all the brises, he taught in front of Rabbi Yochanan the following brisa. Kol mini mashkin yafin lachaloim, all types of drinks are good for a dream. Chutz min hayayin, except wine. Yesh yisei of tov loy. Some drink it and it's good. In other words, in a dream, they drink it and it's good. And some drink it and it's bad. Some drink it and it's good for them. It says that wine gladdens a person's heart. Some drink it, it's bad for them. As it says, give wine for someone who's going to die, the yayin and I'm sorry, the first one is tenu shecher, give like beer to someone who's going to die. The yayin lamari nefesh, wine to the person who's bitter, whose soul is bitter. And so therefore, wine could be a good sign, it could be a bad sign. Should we try to turn the page?
No.
Should we have a few more minutes? Should we spend a few more minutes?
Chapter 11.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop here. Okay. Zai gesund, everyone. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye, Rabbi.
Shabbos,
Shabbos,
everybody.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.